Welcome back to Shades of Green with Doug Bennett and Tony Bickmore from Southern Nevada Water Authority. We're talking about water conservation and not using any more than we need to. We've been in one of the worst droughts on record in the Southwest in recent years. How's SNWA dealing with that?
Super effectively, but it's but it's not us. It's not us, Paul. We're trying to provide the leadership, the programs, the tools. It is the 2 million people here that have changed the way they're living, the way they look at water, the way they use water. So we were long seen as one of the most profligate users of water in of southwestern cities, and we're now revered as one of the most progressive and efficient cities in terms of its water use. And it's really not the SNWA that brought that all about. It was the SNWA in conjunction with the people who live here changing the way we behave, looking for opportunities of where's water being wasted and what can I do about it. And we try to emphasize that. We're not telling you don't use water. We're asking you how can you achieve what you're trying to accomplish with less water than you used to use before. And whether that's through technology or behavior or a combination of both, we want you and us to be looking for those new ideas all the time.
That's good.
Yeah, if you look at a lot of what we do is about partnerships in the valley. So we have lots of partners on the business side with the home builders. And then all of our programs are voluntary programs. So all of our success and all the things that we've done, it's all been voluntary. So it's really the community buying in over time, in this process, because we never wanted to be adversarial with them. We always wanted to work with them.
That's a great point. So when we went into severe drought response mode, 2003 was really when most of that activity was happening. So now 14 years ago. But Toby gives a great example, partnering with people versus debating and fighting with them. And so one of the examples is we met with the car wash industry. And we sent a letter to everybody in the car wash industry and said, we want to meet with you. And we didn't tell them exactly what we wanted to talk about, because we wanted them to come, right? If you send people a message and say, hey, we have a great idea how we can work together, what isn't going to impact your business, they don't come to the meeting, you don't get their insights. So we just said, we want to meet with you. Their perception was that we would want to close all the car washes and ban car washing. The reality was, our program is designed to try and get you to quit washing your car in your driveway, where the water just runs out into the gutter and evaporates, and take your car instead to a commercial car wash, where all of those chemicals, all of the debris from your car, the oil residues can be recovered, treated, and that water can be reused by the community at some point. So it was exactly the opposite. We created this great partnership with the car wash industry, who you've seen in the news in many cases was considered an adversary in times of drought, literally taking people's business opportunity away and telling them no car washing. If I'm in the car wash business, you just took away my livelihood. We don't want that. We want to find where's the common ground, where can we both make progress and both be happy about what's happening.
I think we need to talk a little bit more about that, as you call it, the one-shot water usage when you're watering your lawn or using water outside. It's just one shot. Talk about that a little bit.
So if you look at our programs, most of our programs are focused on outdoor or basically consumptive water use, which is one time. So if you're watering in the landscape, if you put it in the grass, it's one time. You can't recapture it. Indoor water use for us is something that can be recaptured. We can treat it, we can return it to the lake, and we actually get something called return flow credits, and so we can actually pull water back in. So we kind of have in our valley this giant, in a way it's kind of a gray water system where we're kind of able to use water. It's not the same water, but it's able to use water over and over again, and that's with indoor. But the outdoor, again, in landscapes and casinos, it's evaporative cooling. So there are certain types of things that use a lot of consumptive water use where it's one and done. And that's where we're trying to really do our conservation efforts. We focus our time, our money, really on those type of programs because that's where we want to minimize the water loss.
Anywhere that the water ultimately winds up evaporated to the atmosphere, it's lost from our portfolio.
Okay.
But the shower you take, your laundry, anything that makes its way to the sanitary sewer system is going to be treated to a very high quality, returned to the lake, and becomes available to us as indirect reuse. So 40% of the water supply here is literally a reuse system. No other major southwestern city is operating at that level.
Which means once we take a shower and it goes down the drain, it gets treated, goes back to the lake, and can be drawn back out and be used to take a shower with again, basically.
Right, or used by another user on the river, so it's essentially water not lost from the system. And all of your water rights are based on this idea of how much water can I take that I'm allowed to never return to the system. And so anything that's a loop back to that system that provided your original source of supply, the Colorado River, is not considered lost, nor is it considered a debit against your water rights account.
Give us some metrics on water usage by an average household.
We've actually seen, when I got here in the early 2000s, we were seeing that the average household was using about 250,000 gallons of water per year. And now we've seen the average drop down into the 140, 150,000 gallon range.
Wow.
And the new homes that have been built under the new development policies, where we're not putting grass all over the place, we're seeing those homes operating at close to 100,000 gallons of water per year. So literally 2.5 of today's homes can operate on what used to be a single home when we first went into drought. And so again, more efficiency. How much mileage are we getting out of that gallon of water? And that's what we're going for.
Oh, that's great. And so what's that effectively on a daily use?
In terms of our daily use, our consumptive use has gone down by 34 billion gallons of water per year.
Wow.
So when we started this, Paul, when the drought hit, we were actually using more than Nevada's allocation of river water. We were actually over our limit using a policy that said when the river is rich, you may take some of that excess water that's on the river. And we did. And so we were at 322,000 acre feet of use when the drought hit, and we needed to get back under 300,000 under drought conditions. And we actually went from 322, and in that 1 year we went into the 270s. And we now commonly operate in the 220s. And what do we do with the extra? We bank it. So if whatever water people didn't use this year that's below our allocation, we take that water and we try to bank it either right here under our feet in the Las Vegas Valley. We have a fairly large bank, groundwater bank. We also bank water with the states of Arizona and California so that it can be a resource to us in the future. It's not lost to us. It's conserved, and it'll be utilized somewhere down the road.
I think the interesting thing, so like Doug said, so 2000, late 1990s, I mean, our population was 500,000.
It's about 1 million.
I was going to say, and how many homes have been built since then, too?
And so we're using, in total, less water, even though our population has grown so dramatically. So that alone is just something, I think, when I'm out talking to the community, and just it's an amazing fact that, you know, because this town has grown so much, well, despite the town growing so much, we're using a less total amount of water.
So our per person
capita, yeah.
usage is down a
Significant.
huge
I think
percentage.
Oh, substantially.
30-40%.
Yeah, we're almost everything is down about a third.
Tell us a little bit about commercial and industrial water usage and conservation efforts there.
I think the industrial sector manages water super effectively. So a lot of people see some of the, in our area, you would have some manufacturing and things like that. They usually have engineers that know where every kilowatt hour is going. They know where every process, what the inputs are, because they're engineers. That's what they do. They monitor all this stuff. So you don't usually have to get too excited about the industrial sector. One of our big industries here is actually doing people's laundry. So we got these giant resorts. Everybody's been behind one of these semi-trucks that says Brady Linen or one of the other major linen companies. They've adopted a lot of new technology. They have brought the water use for a pound of laundry from 3 gallons per pound down to less than a gallon per pound through new technology. And we often give rebates on those technologies and partner with those companies. The resort hotels, people's perception, they dominate our skyline, right? They dominate our economy. They dominate the Las Vegas perception. But the reality is those resort hotels only account for about 7% of all the water delivered through Las Vegas meters. And because most of that water is being used inside the building and we can recover it for reuse, they actually account for less than 3% of Southern Nevada's water resources. So a huge economic return on 3% of your water, That's what we're looking for. That's efficiency.
That's a big eye opener. I would have expected it to be a lot more than that, but it's a big valley. We've got a lot of people living here. So let's switch over. How about municipal usage and conservation efforts?
Municipal has been, we don't, surprisingly, we're maybe you know this, we're not necessarily a parks-rich environment in southern Nevada compared to some of our peer cities. But obviously, when you look at some of these park designs, we used to have, surely you all remember this, we used to have a lot of grass in street medians, things like that. And so most of that has been converted. The municipalities have been very good about reducing that. And again, you're looking at, I think total municipal institutional uses are typically 5% or so of the water demands.
Let's pick that up when we come back, and we'll go listen to our sponsors here for a little bit. We'll be right back to Shades of Green.